Okay, so today we are going to talk about the triangle sum theorem, exterior angles. We got lots to talk about today. So, first off, we're going to talk about the triangle sum theorem. And what the triangle sum theorem is doing is it's telling you that if I have angle A, angle M, and angle V, and I add all those together, they should all add together to give me 180 degrees. So when we know that, we can start to deduce information. So if we have two of the angles, we can find the third angle. If we know some measures, if we know some variables as measures, we can do it as well. So that's what we're going to focus on and work on today. So the first thing we want to do is the triangle sum theorem, where all three angles add together to give you 180 degrees. We started a little bit of this in my class with IXL, but let's start here. So I have the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle C equals 180 degrees, and that's the triangle sum theorem. So we know that by the triangle sum theorem, okay? Then we can substitute our values in. So angle A really is going to be 55 plus, we can go with the measure of angle B. Angle B is going to be x plus 74 plus the measure of angle C. And angle C right here is going to be 54. And that's all going to add together to equal 180. And we call that substitution because we're substituting our values in for our angles. All right, well, now that we have that done, we want to solve for our variable. So we're going to underline our variable, draw a line down the middle of the equal sign, okay? And what I'm seeing right off the get is, can we, I'm trying to figure out a color that I want. Here, let's do this. Can I combine my like terms? If they're all on the same side, can I put 55, 74, and 54 all together? And hopefully your answer is yes. Let's does most grabbing calculator. Here we go. Thank you. Let's roll it all the way over here. Okay, so I need 55 plus 74 plus 50 something, 54. 54. So we get 183. Now, can we do that mentally? Absolutely. But I don't want any mistakes, especially on a video. So we are going to double check ourselves. 183. Even though I like mistakes and wrong answers, they're opportunities for growth and learning, but we still want to make sure we do things correctly. All right. With that, we still want to underline our variable, but now we have x plus 183 equals 180. So we have to finish this off. So to get rid of addition, we are going to subtract 183, and x is going to equal -3. So this is subtraction, property of equality, and then we are doing that to zero out the 183s because we want these to zero each other out. So that's why we did it, to get x by itself. So x equals -3. And if we wanted the measure of angle B, remember it's x plus 74, that's given. And we know x equals -3. That's the solution we just got, so we'll call that given. And then we can do substitution. So negative 3 plus 74. That's substitution. And then we're going to get the measure of angle B equals 71 by simplify. Or you could even say add or subtract, whatever, but simplifying. And if you wanted to triple check yourself, do 71 plus 55 plus 54, and we know all three angles in a triangle should give you 180 degrees. Make sure that that happens. Okay? All right, how'd the first problem go? Did we do the triangle sum theorem okay? All right, well, if you think you did, pause, try B by yourself. For everyone else, let's move on to letter B. Yes, ma'am.
Aiden Hutchinson just broke his leg.
Oh, no.
He's out, like on a stretcher, probably done for the season.
Oh, that sucks. Okay, so the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle F plus the measure of angle H equals 180 degrees. That is the triangle sum theorem again. And yes, we are Michigan people and Detroit Lions fans, and unfortunately, yeah, Aiden Hutchinson just went down, which really sucks, because I was just talking to my buddy, and like, if everyone stays healthy, we have a great run for this Super Bowl this year too. So anyways, sidetrack totally, but that's a super bummer. Sorry, Aiden, if that sucks. Hope you recover quickly and healthy. Healthy? Without any trauma? I don't know. I'm not sure how you would make sure to say that appropriately. My bad. Anyways, let's get back to the math. So we know the triangle sum theorem. Angle D plus angle F plus angle H. All three of them should add together to give you 180 degrees. So let's do substitution. Angle D is going to be 70 degrees. Angle F is going to be 8x plus 2. And angle H is going to be 60. And they're going to equal 180 degrees. Sawyer, can I help you? I don't know what thing you're talking about. Okay, so this line we're going to call substitution. Okay, and then we are going to take our yellows and we are going to combine like terms. So we still have our 8x. That's not going to change, but we're going to do 70 plus 60 plus 2. 70 plus 60 plus 2 and get 132. 132, and it's going to be equal to 180. Now, we still want to solve for x, so we need to get rid of the 132 on both sides. So that is the subtraction property of equality. So we can subtract 132 from both sides. That will zero out our 132s, which is why we're doing this. Remember, we want to get rid of this so we can get x by itself. Now, it's not x by itself, it's 8x, so we'll have one more step to do, but it's a step in the right direction. We're getting rid of the 132s. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to do 180 minus 32. And if you ever do this, I would always do 8 minus 3 and get a 5. You're like, but you always got to borrow. Yeah, but if I know that, I know 50s, well, then this answer is going to be 40, and then I can just borrow and turn it into a 48. So hopefully get that number sense going. The more practice you get, the quicker you get with it. But you want to try and do that. So I see 18 minus 13, that's going to be a 5, and then I can borrow from it 4, turn this into a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. So if you practice enough, that actually turns out to be quick math. All right, we have division property of equality. And the reason we do that is because we want to, 1, out the 8s. If this becomes a 1, then we finally get our x by ourselves. And then we're going to do 48 divided by 8 and come up with a 6. Good. And now if it asks for angle F, we would take that 6, substitute it in, and add 2. Times it by 8, add 2, and that's going to be our answer. And then we can add all three of them together to make sure it's 180. There's plenty of checks and balance system in here for you to make sure you get the right answer. Okay? All right, last one. I put this one in because it definitely had a box in the corner, and I like the fact that it wasn't just x, it was x plus something, x plus something. So we're going to call this QZA. So we'll take the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle Z plus the measure of angle Q equals 180 degrees. That's the triangle Sum Theorem. So all three angles in a triangle add together to give you 180 degrees. That will always work. So once again, going through, and I'm just color coordinating the angles to make sure that my information gets put in the correct spots, the correct locations. It's very good practice that you should do as a math student so that you limit the amount of mistakes you make. You're never going to be perfect. You're going to have mistakes, but at least you can limit them by doing some easy tricks. Okay, so we're going to do substitution. So we're going to take angle A, angle Z, and angle Q and substitute our values in of what they really are. So Q is going to be x plus 37. Z is going to be x plus 67. And then angle A is going to be your vocabulary history lesson. You do need to know what this represents right here. This box in the corner tells you 90 degrees. So you want to make sure and put 90 degrees in for your angle measure. That box in the corner is a right angle. Okay, so that's a history lesson, vocabulary lesson. You got to remember that box in the corner stands for a right angle, which is 90 degrees. The measure of it is 90 degrees. All right. Going through, checking your combining like terms idea. And we can actually do two of them at once when we combine like terms. We can do the two blues, so 1x plus 1x is 2x's. And then we're going to do 90, 67, 37. 90 plus 67 plus 37, right? Did I say that correctly? 67, 37? Yeah, 194, okay? 194. Getting into the negative answers. And I know it's going to be negative because this number is larger than that one, and once I subtract it over, we're going to see that that becomes that. So we're going to subtract 194 from both sides. That is our subtraction property of equality. We're doing that to zero out the 194s. Okay. So that we are left with a 2x equals, and then that's going to be negative 54, I think. 180 minus 194 equals negative 14. Okay, so I don't know where my 5, the brain was going with the 5. Anyways, let's go orange. Okay, so in between 2 and x, whether they tell you or not, there is multiplication there. So in order to get rid of multiplication, we need to use the division property. So we're going to divide, and we're going to use the property of equality, divide both sides by 2. because we want to 1 out the 2's. This, any number divided by itself, will turn into a 1. And 1x, we don't have to put the 1 there, it's just an x. And then that's going to give us -7 as our answer. Once again, we can plug that value back in, find out this angle is 30, this angle is 60, and 30, 60, 90 triangle is one of those special cases. We know it's 180. All right, so let's move on to the next task. This is vocabulary history lesson. There is a lot going on. Ooh. Yeah, I don't want to screw with that. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. There's stuff going on in this problem, and what we need to understand, this is still interior angles. So what do we know? Well, that red line up top is the indicator, hopefully, that reminds you of 180 degrees. A straight line is always measured at 180 degrees. So I know this angle right here is 50 because 50 plus 130 is 180. So that helps me with one of the angles. Then these peach, hopefully you see this. Those are, I hope you said vertical angles. And vertical angles are equal to each other, so I know this is going to be 8x plus 4 as well. So put all three angles together in that triangle, and we're going to have 3x minus 6 plus 8x plus 4 plus 50 equals 180. And we'll call this the triangle sum theorem because we don't have any letters. And I'm just going to keep it like this for now. Now we can combine like terms. Combine like terms. And just to keep us organized, actually I like the gray. Let's draw that line down the middle. Okay? So it's still going to be equal to 180. We're going to combine like terms. And then we're going to do 3x plus 8x, which will be 8, 9, 10, 11x. And this is going to be plus 48. Because 4 and negative 6 will leave us with negative 2, which means we subtract 2 off 50, which is 48. All right, now still looking for x, so we're going to subtract 48 from both sides. This will, so subtraction, property of equality, we want to 0 out the 48s, so that we're left with 11x equals 8 minus 4 is 4, so I know this is going to be 130 because we're going to have to borrow. And 10 minus 8 is 2, so 132. Okay, well, that gets us there. Now, in between 11 and x is multiplication, so we're going to do the division, property of equality, to 1 out the 11s, so that I'm left with x equals, and I'm going to guess 12 is our answer. 132 divided by 11 is 12. Nice. So x equals 12. And then we could plug this in, and this actually is probably a good one to try. So we're going to do 3 times 12 minus 6, which is 36 minus 6, which is 30. So there's 30. And then we're going to do 8x plus 4. So that's going to be 8 times 12 plus 4. 8 times 12 is 96. Plus 4, which is 96 plus 4, which is 100. Okay. Now, why? Because if I take 100 plus 30 plus 50, then when I add those together, it should give me 180 degrees, which it does. So we know we are good. All right, next stop on this tour bus is going to be exterior angle theorems. Okay, so if we have an exterior angle, which is an angle outside of the triangle, the measure of that exterior angle is going to be equal to the sum of its interior parts. And why? Well, if we know all three angles add together to give you 180 degrees, and this straight line is 180 degrees, then this angle should add, or this angle should be equal to these two added together, because it's kind of the transitive property. Now, I'm not going to go through a formal proof, but if you thought about angle H plus angle P plus, and I'm just going to call this W, angle W, that's going to equal 180. And angle W plus angle HWF equals 180. Then we can set these together. And when I talk about angle W, because that's actually bad math teacher-ish talk, angle W is this angle right here. And then angle W plus angle HWF. If I subtract angle W from both sides, then they cancel, and I'm left with angle H plus angle P equals angle HWF, which is where the proof comes from in the first place. In a more formal, oh, you can't even see that, but in a more formal setting, that's sort of how it comes about. I'll show people on the phone. Okay, that's what you're going to see. Okay. If you were to take abstract geometry, I think. I don't even know if that's abstract geometry, but where are my coasters? Like 20 coasters, and my cup is leaking on my desk. Yeah, this was something that you would set up and do to prove that the exterior angle theorem exists. So, not that you need all that history, but just understand that this outside angle is going to equal the two interior angles, okay? And then the other thing is the exterior angle sum theorem. So what we're going to find out is that this yellow angle, which is CGB, plus this angle out here, XSA or ASX, and this QYE angle, when we add these three together, is going to equal 360 degrees. So first off, let's just show 80 plus 70 plus 30. That's going to be 180. So I know this is a triangle, even though these angles are different. So 1, 2, 3 angles add together to give you 180. But going back to that straight line idea, if this is a straight line and it's 180, that's going to make this 110. That's going to make this 100 degrees. And then this one's going to be 150. Because remember, if you have a straight line, the measure of a straight line is 180 degrees. So I'm just taking 180, subtracting this one off, and what's left is that. Now, if I do 150 plus 100 plus 110, is it going to equal 360? Well, I have 1, 2, I got 300. That's good. 50 plus 10 is 60. So the math checks out. Sorry, that was a check mark. So we're good. So the exterior angle theorem does work, even though we proved it and showed it with numbers. But just so you understand that this is a real thing. So the exterior angle is the sum of the two angles. And let's look at this. What's 70 plus 30? Isn't that 100? What's 80 plus 30? Isn't that 110? And what's 70 plus 80? Isn't that 150? So there's they'll call it a symbiotic relationship between all this stuff. Like it's all interconnected. It's all interwoven with each other. So paying attention to these numbers and how they work, it does give you some idea of how everything kind of comes together. All right, so let's wrap this up. A couple practice problems. First one we're going to talk about is this right here. They want to know what the angle measure for GHD is. Okay? Well, I do know that the measure of GHD is going to be equal to the measure of angle F plus the measure of angle G. Okay? So I'm going to put the question mark for this one because that's all it shows. I'm going to put 66 plus 74. This is the exterior. What do we call it? I want to make sure the exterior angle sum theorem. All right, so let's go exterior angle sum theorem. And you should shorthand as much as you can, as long as it makes sense to a math teacher. And exterior angle sum theorem will make sense to a math teacher. Then we're going to use substitution. SUBST should be enough for a math teacher to understand. And then 130, 140 even. All said and done, we can call that simplify. And then in our answer bank, we're going to put 140 degrees. Okay? Don't overcomplicate your life, because they'll make it tricky enough as it is as we go. All right, so now we have variables that we're going to have to deal with. Still the same game, still the same ball game. So we're going to take the measure of angle BPQ. So I'm going to look at this angle BPQ right here is going to be equal to the measure of angle R plus the measure of angle Q. We're going to take the two interiors and put them together. So angle Q is pink, angle R is green, angle BPQ is turquoise or baby blue, whatever you want to call it. So this is the exterior angle sum theorem. Sorry, I forgot about. Apparently, this one's a little tricky because my chat will. There, let's do that. Okay. So now we know. BPQ is going to be 112. Angle R is 18x minus 3 plus angle Q, which is 9x plus 7. And that is substitution. Play the combine like terms game. And before I even do anything, that's what I'm going to write. Combine like terms. So I'm going to do 18x plus 9x. Well, that looks like 27x. And then 7 take away 3 is just going to be a positive 4. Still have 112. Drawing our line down the middle, equal sign as we continue. Let's get rid of the plus 4. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. That's subtract POE, property of equality. A lot of math teachers should know that term. Shouldn't be too confusing for them. If they want you to write it out, write it out. Don't get docked just because you didn't write it out. Don't be lazy like me. Okay. We wanted to zero out the 4s. Then we're going to do division, property of equality, because we want to 1 out the 27s. And x is going to equal, I don't know, 108 divided by 27 is 4. Okay, so x equals 4. So x equals 4, which is fantastic. However, be careful, because the SAT, you would get this wrong because it's asking for more than just that. We need to get angle Q and angle R. So we're going to take that x value of 4 and plug it in. So we're going to do 18 times 4, take away 3, and 9 times 4, plus 7. So this is going to be 36 plus 7, 43. Am I right on that? And this is pink, so this is angle Q. This is angle R. So angle Q is 43. 2, 3, 72 minus 3, 69. Angle R. Okay. I think that's right. Double check my math. Tell me if I'm wrong. It's okay. I make mistakes all the time. All right. And, oh yeah, I did one. So, fairly long problem. I'm not saying it's, I don't know if it's difficult, but it does take a little writing. It does take a little understanding as well. But I think once you get the hang of it, it's not terribly taxing. Okay, so we have the measure of angle WFG equals the measure of angle G plus the measure of angle H. And this is the exterior angle sum theorem. And we did this practice problem. H is purple. G is pink. Blue. Okay. We did this problem specifically so that we could get, when we did the substitution piece, we will get variables on both sides of our problem, which is a good thing because it's good practice to make sure that we can solve these types of problems. So if we have an x on this side, oops, and an x on this side, remember our highlight goes down the middle equal sign. We've got to throw them all on one side. So what I want to do is subtract 7x from both sides. And the reason I want to do that, so that's subtraction property of equality, is because I won't have to deal with negative numbers. If I would have subtracted 14x from both sides, then I got to deal with the x's being negatives. And then we zero out the 7x's. We can combine like terms, and that would give us down to 70, then 66. So combine like terms, 7x plus 10. Here's my x, so I want to subtract 10 from both sides. So subtraction, oh, thank you so much for the likes. So appreciated. And that's going to give us 56 equals 7x. Okay, so we zero out the 10s. Then we're going to do division property of equality. And we're going to get x to equal, oh god, I hope that's 8. 56 divided by 7, 8. Okay. All right. My mental math checking out. Sweet. And we did that because we want to 1 out the 7s. We want these to disappear. So we get by itself. So x equals 8. Now, angle G, 7 times 8 minus 8. So we just said this was 56 minus 8. That will be 48. Okay. Then we're going to do 14 times 8 plus 10. So it's 2, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus 10 is 122. So how do we know? Take 48 plus 74. And that's a 2, 8, and that's 122. Oh my gosh, thank you for all the... Holy good gracious. Whatever the hack is, I do completely appreciate it. Because I doubt 400 people have rolled through this saying 500. Hey, I'll take the low. I don't care. Very much appreciated. All right. So that gets us through 3.4, the interior and exterior angles of a triangle. I am fantastic. Thank you for asking. Getting ready for Monday. It's the start of a new week. I'm going to stop recording.